Alright, book number 4. So yeah, might as well just read the little instruction blurbs as soon as we pick our new Kai discipline. And the audience agrees that we are picking camouflage. So let's go. Alright, camouflage. We're on striking that out. We have hate discipline. We're a warmorn. I don't know what it is, but it definitely is a title. So now equipment. Alright, before leaving Home Guard on your ride south, you're given a map of the Southland. Alright. Pictured here. Yeah, Southern Summerlawn, being that part which borders upon Vasagonia. So, alright. You are here, and you must go all the way over there. So, alright, we're definitely going on for quite the ride out in Vasagonia. Over there. Yep, we did book number 3 flawlessly. And for that, congratulations to everyone. So, alright, let's check out how much gold we have. It's like, gold was completely useless in the last adventure. It's like, what good is dollars for into the wasteland of Shithill? Alright. Okay, you may take your pick of the following items. Oh, you may take up to 6 of the following. Alright. They're starting to entrust us more now. So, alright. Warhammer, dagger, 2 potions of Loam Spur that restore 4 endurance points, a sword, a spear, 5 meals, a mace, a chainmail waistcoat, a shield. I mean, we already have a shield. I mean, I guess we could substitute the padded leather waistcoat with the chainmail one. That will allow us to get the 2 extra endurance point. And at that point, I say let's just pick a shitload of meals. Because at this point, who knows what we're going to... Alright, let's upgrade. Alright, chainmail, waistcoat, plus 4 endurance point. At that point, it might not be, you know, a bad thing. Google Warmorn. Did you mean Walmart? All right, and at that point, I say, yeah, let's fill up the rest of our backpack with meals. Also, whoops, I forgot to update the value here, which was supposed to be 0 and not 4. Alright, at that point I'd say that looks good. I think we're all ready to go. Wargram. Alright, at that point, story so far. Ah, okay. Actually, this time they're not summing up all that we've done so far, so it's gonna be shorter this time. Roinon is a remote mining province to the south of your homeland, Summerland. Nestling between the sullen peak of the Dern Crag and Macken Mountain, the people of this province have long prospered from their toil in the ore-rich mines, living and enjoying their wealth under the protection of their lord, Baron Venalund. The Lorhan gem that are mined at Roinon yield an important source of revenue to your homeland. The heavily guarded convoy of wagons that leave the province and journey to the capital have become a regular monthly routine. A routine that had never been broken until 1 month ago, when suddenly all contact with Roinon ceased. A troop of 100 cavalry from the King's Guard were immediately dispatched to investigate the whereabouts of the missing convoy. Their commanding officer, Captain Duval, was ordered to report back to the king as soon as contact was made, but he and his men have not returned. They too have disappeared without trace. The king has summoned you, Lone Wolf, Lass of the Kai Lord, to his citadel at Homeguard. Your quest is to find Captain Duval and his men, discover what has happened to the missing convoy, and to uncover the veil of mystery that now hangs over Roinon. The king has gathered a company of border ranger, a unit of elite scouts, all of whom are skilled in horsemanship and outdoor survival. He has ordered these 50 men to accompany you in the hope that, with your leadership, they may succeed where the larger and more visible force failed. As you and your men enter the royal armory to equip yourself for the long ride ahead, you glimpse a black crow perched on a window ledge high above. It flies away, but not before shivers run down your spine. In Homeguard, the crow is a bird of ill omen. Alright, let's go. For 3 days, you lead your brave company of rangers across the lush plain of southern Summerland on the first stage of your urgent mission. The flat, treeless fields surround you in a seemingly endless expanse of wheat, so high that even though you're in the saddle, it reaches well above your knees. Your horses seem to be swimming through a vast yellow sea of corn that is only interrupted by an occasional trek, or group of isolated farmhouses. The Southerners welcome your sudden appearance, but you only make the briefest stops for food and rest, neither wishing to risk becoming a burden nor alarm these good people with your mission. By noon on the 4th day, you reach the pass of Moitura. Here, the plain gives way to the broken foothill of the Dern Crag Mountain. You soon reach a highway, the surface cracked and full of potholes, heading off toward the south. This is the notorious Roinon Pike. South of the pass, the Roinon Pike crosses a 100-mile of open territory known as Raiders Road. Bandit tribes from the wildlands and Gyak war bands from the mountain of the west frequently ambush those who travel along the pike, and the regular shipment of gold and gem from the mines at Roinon have sometimes yielded rich picking to these merciless robbers. "Pointed flankers!" you shout, and immediately 3 groups of rangers peel away from the column and spur their horses to a gallop. You watch with pride as the expert horsemen take up their scouting position to the front and side of the company. It is late afternoon where a ranger scout approaches the company from the west. He points toward a craggy outcrop where a thin spiral of wood smoke betrays a hut, hidden beneath the overhanging rock. Do we investigate the hut, or do we ignore it and continue along Roinon Pike? Yep. Hut. Alright, seems clear enough to me. An escort of 5 rangers accompany you along the twisting narrow track that leads to the hut. The rough stone walls are covered with a damp moss into which is set a curious oval door. There are no windows. You have dismounted and are approaching the door when suddenly a man's voice calls from inside the hut. "Come in, Lone Wolf. I've been expecting you." Do we open the door and enter? Do we draw our weapon and kick open the door? Or do we send our rangers in the hut? Okay, open and enter. Kick down the door. Enter and greet, open and enter. "Hey, I'm naked, yeah!" Alright, let's go. In the dim light of the interior, you see an old man seated at a table. The flicker of a log's fire is all that illuminates this foul-smelling hovel, yet it sheds enough light for you to see the clutter of shards and strange instruments that crowd the hut. The man slowly raises his gaze from a large crystal sphere and bids you sit opposite him. "You know my name. How?" you ask worriedly. "A star foretold our meeting long ago, Lone Wolf," he replies, slowly passing his withered old hands around the sphere. "Be not alarmed by my knowledge, for I wish only to aid you." He produces a small scroll of parchment from within his robe and he hands it to you. Upon the scroll is written the following verse: "When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep. The legend of a long-forgotten lord, when a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of Mackengorge shall rise to claim their long-awaited reward." That's the worst Madverse City rap performance I've ever seen. So yeah, old guy. You ask the meaning of the strange verse, but the old man does not answer you. He seemed to have fallen into a deep trance. You lean across the cluttered table to awaken him and are shocked to see your hand pass straight through his body. Gradually, his image begins to fade. Within seconds, he has disappeared completely. You place the scroll in your pocket. You quickly leave the hut, pausing only to wipe the cold sweat from your brow. Alright, let's have a scroll. You have ridden less than 5 miles when you see a group of wagons on the highway ahead. They are painted in a gaudy mix of bright colors and drawn by a team of oxen. A huge tassel banner flies above the leading wagon, which bears the following proclamation: "The famous Azagir players, troubadour to the imperial courts of Magnamond." I'm so dead! So, alright, do we wish to stop and question the traveling minstrel, or do we ignore them and let them pass? Alright, let her has them stuff, say hi, ignore. So there's no option to say kill the bards. Come on. Like that will be a bad look for our king if we started to murder a whole bunch of civilians. Alright, fine talk. Alright, let's talk. You signal to the driver to stop. The wagons halt and a small moon-faced man in a bright pink tunic throws open the rear door of the leading carriage. He shouts and curses the driver as he descends the ladder, pausing only to adjust the cummerbund that barely covers his huge stomach. Seeing your man, he lets out a strangled shriek and fumbles for a short sword hanging at his side. "Bandits! Robbers!" he cries, and wrestles to free his sword from its ornate scabbard. A row of anxious faces appear at the wagon window, but the expression soon change to a smile when they recognize your Sumlending uniform. "Calm yourself, yes..." Wait, hold on.
"Calm yourself, Yesu. They are Sumlending Rangers. They will not steal your gold."
Laughter ripples along the carriage as the little fat man suddenly unsheaths his sword with such force that he spins around and tumbles to the ground. Yep. There we go. The little fat man spins around and tumbles to the ground. And he loses a shoe too.
"You must forgive Yesu,"
say the old woman.
"It means you no harm. Raider's Road has made him a nervous wreck."
Question the old woman, asking her where they have come from and their destination. You learn that they are a troop of players and have journeyed many miles from their native land of Cloasia in the east. They last played for the people of Eshnar, but it was a disappointing show. It seems that the town was as quiet as the grave. Those who did come to see them were a sad and sorry crowd. They are now bound for home guard and hopefully a more appreciative audience.
"Light is fading. remarks the
remarks the old woman.
Perhaps you and your men will camp with us tonight. We will deem it an honor, and would be happy to entertain you all with songs and dancing.
You notice a hopeful look in the eyes of your men as they await your decision. Do we set up camp with the troubadour, or do we decide to press on? Okay, camp. Alright, set up camp. The wagons are drawn into a circle and you set up camp inside. A ranger is posted to patrol the perimeter. The troubadour constructs a small stage onto which strides Yesu. My bad, my mouth is stupid. He calls for silence before announcing the title of their play, The Brave Warriors of Summerlawn, a choice that meets with the hearty approval of your men. During the performance, you notice something very odd. Not only is one of the actors using a real sword, but it is a type of sword only issued to officers of the Sumlending Cavalry. After the play, you approach the man to questioning about the sword. He looks at you nervously and makes a dash for the darkness in the perimeter wagon. Alright, do we want to give chase? And we have the Kai discipline of either tracking or hunting. Yes, we do. So, whoops, we need to go back up there. I think you should go there. Although the wagons are shrouded in darkness, your Kai sense reveals to you the actor's hiding place. You climb the ladder at the rear of a large caravan, push open the door with your weapon, and enter. In the plush candle-lit interior of the caravan, you find the actor cowering beneath a blanket in the far corner. You flick the blanket aside and ask the petrified man to exclaim how he came to possess such a fine sword. I bought it in Ishnar, he stammers, his eye wide with fear. From the innkeeper of the Pick and Shovel Tavern. He grabs the sword by the blade and offers it to you. If this is your sword I've unwittingly bought, I am truly sorry. Here, please take it. You grip the brass hilt and examine it closely. There is no doubt. It is a Sumlending cavalry sword, but the inscription of the blade makes your heart miss a beat. Captain Ramir Deval, King's Guard Regiment. Alright, do we want to keep the sword? Mark Captain Deval's sword as a weapon. Alright. No, there's no option to kill him. Alright. You return to the troubadour stage in time for a meal that have been prepared by your host. The steaming broth smells most appetizing. Do we accept the meal, or if we decline it, we're gonna have to eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points? No, that's because the summer sword is a special item. It's not considered a weapon. All right, let's accept. The food is delicious. You eat your fill and then make preparation for a good night's sleep. At dawn, you and your company bid farewell to the traveling players and continue on your mission to Roinon. All right, random number table. 4. After journeying through the rich wheat field of southern Summerlawn, the view that lies before you now looks especially bleak and colorless. The landscape is flat and desolate, only relieved here and there by ragged copse or stunted firs or mount of broken earth. You've entered the wild lands south of the pass of Moitura and cannot use the Kai discipline of hunting. We don't have it anyway, so... During the afternoon, storm clouds gather above the peaks of the Derncrag Mountains to the west, and the roll of distant thunder warns of imminent rain. It is early evening when your scouts find the ruins of an old temple, less than a mile from the highway. Do we set up camp in the night of the shelter of the ruin, or do we avoid the temple and continue? Right? Ruins, avoid the temple. Creepy old temple during the storm, always a good idea. Perfect, let's go. The ruins are overgrown with weeds and roots, but you can make out the shape of the inner sanctum of the temple quite distinctly. The huge marble canopy is still intact and will serve as an excellent shelter from the storm. As you tie your horse to a withered shrub, glance up to see two men hiding beneath the canopy, dressed in long black robes. You order them to come out and identify themselves, but they neither move nor answer your call. Do we signal our men to attack the robe strangers? Do we capture them alive, or do we sheath our weapon and approach them, your hand extended in a gesture of friendship? Alright, take them alive. They're zombie. Take them alive. Take them alive. Capture them. Alright, capture. Your men draw their sword and advance on the stranger. The hooded men immediately raise their hand and emerge from beneath the stone canopy. One of the men drops a small earthenware flask full of clear liquid and it shatters on the hard marble floor. A search of their clothing revealed 12 gold crown and enough food for 2 meals. Alright, do we actually have room? Let's see. Alright, we don't have any room for this, but we have room for money though, so hey, we might as well go and do that. So at this point, do we still keep our Grieveweed potion, or do we discard our robes? Like, yeah, we have some inventory to take care of. But in the meantime, yeah, let's, we have the healing. Okay, you say ditch the rope? Okay, alright. Alright, we have a healthy backpack. Perfect. So, alright, we possess the Kai discipline of healing. Yes. You instantly recognize those amulets. These are the symbol of a holy order known as the Redeemers, a silent order of pilgrims devoted to a lifetime of prayer and healing. You apologize for your hasty reaction. The holy men both nod their shaven head in forgiveness. Your men is pitched camp beneath the marble canopy, and preparation are soon underway for a good night's sleep. You are hungry and you must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Okay, alright. Oh, your rest is disturbed by the anxious shout of the night guard. Awake! Awake! We're under attack! I guess so. I mean, they did not say anything. Yep, we just rubbed some poor clergyman. Don't trust society, bishops. Yeah, fuck the police. Alright, awake, awake, we're under attack. Throwing back their blankets, your men leap to their feet, peering through the teeming rain at the shadowy silhouette of horsemen circling the ruin. Suddenly an arrow whistles through the darkness. Your lookout screams and falls to his knees. Form a circle, you shout. Keep behind cover. The rangers gather sword and shield and press themselves against the wet temple marble for your protection. For protection, whoops. The sound of metal shod boots on stone make you spin around. A dozen warriors dressed in shiny red armor are clambering across the broken pillars. 2 rangers run to block their advance, but they are felled by one sweep of the warrior's leader broadsword. Then the warrior sees you and quickens his pace. His bloodied sword is raised to strike again. You cannot evade combat, and you must fight to the death. Alright, so... Okay, combat ratio is 12, so I predict he might die very quick. But hey, finally, action. Action, action. Whoops, that's the wrong window. Hold on a second, I just launched a fake OBS that I'm no longer using. At this point, I shall just throw it in the garbage. Alright, hate. The enemy's insta-killed, alright. Long live the summer sword. Oops. Oh, that's right. Alright, if you win, go to 312. Yeah. All around you is the ruins echo to the clash of weapons and the screech of battle cries. These armor-clad horsemen are no ordinary bandit clan. They fight with a discipline and skill unheard of among the lowly outlaws of the wildlands. You step over the dead warrior and call about you a handful of your men. The enemy have surrounded your horses, and you must act quickly if you are to save them from being taken. You lead a charge through the ruin, piercing the enemy line. They falter and flee back into the darkness. However, by the time you have reached the temple perimeter, only 11 of your horses remain. The other has vanished. After much thought, you decide to choose 10 rangers to continue the mission with you, sending the remainder of your company back to Summerlund to report what has happened. As the gloomy light of dawn gradually fills the sky, you and your chosen companion bid a sad farewell to those who must march back on foot. Alright. At this point, I'd say that's fair retribution for robbing these clerical people. All right, 9. You have been riding for over 4 hours when you see a flock of birds. They are black and very large and are swooping around the brow of a distant bridge. We have animal kinship? Yes, we do. You identify the bird as carrion crows, a despicable breed of wildland scavengers. Whenever a creature lies dead in the wasteland, you can be sure to find a host of these loathsome predators. Do we look at what they're eating, or do we ignore them and continue our ride? Alright, what you eating? Ah! None of your business! Alright, go poke at that thing. Yeah, that's fun. As you reach the top of the ridge, a gruesome sight meets you. The body of men and horses lie scattered across the shallow valley beyond, their bones picked clean by the scavenging crows. You hear the gasp of horror as your men recognize the armor and tattered white uniform of these skeletons, for they were once your countrymen, some lending guards of the King Cavalry. They must have died in battle, for the corpses of bandit warrior lie entwined among them. 40 brave soldiers, nearly half of the squadron that left home guard 1 month ago, now lie before you, and it is with heavy heart that your men set about the grisly task of burial. As you ride away from this valley of death, you are comforted only by the knowledge that Captain Duval was not among those you buried. Yeah, this book is definitely more grim. After many hours of riding, you reach a highway junction. You have left the wildland and you may once again use, whatever, I don't care. A large signpost indicates 2 destinations. South to Roinon, 60 miles, and east to Eshnar, 40 miles. Do we continue south towards Roinon or do we go east toward Eshnar? Alright, south, south. South. Where was the pub? I don't remember. Sorry, you were a little late on the east. Everyone wanted to go south. It is almost dark when you reach the end of a densely forested valley. You can just make out the highway disappearing into the trees ahead and catch sight of a signpost pointing toward the south. You are now only 40 miles from Roinon, but your men are tired and are in need of food and rest. Do we set up camp at the edge of the forest? Do we send some men in the valley to scout for bandits? Or do we go without food and sleep to go to Roinon as quickly as possible? Alright, camp, scout, dead marsh. Alright, everyone is torn. Okay, scout, 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 dead marsh. Alright, at this point we're scouting. Scoot! send 3 of your men into the valley with order to scout the highway and its forested borders for bandits. Before the scouts leave, you remind them to report back within 2 hours. You're now hungry and you must eat a meal, otherwise you lose 3 endurance points. Alright. Good thing that we stuff our face with all of the meals in the world. In spite of their fatigue, your men are now alert and ready for action. For it has been over 3 hours since your scout departed, and not one of them has yet returned. Do we send 3 more scouts in the wooded valley? Do we wish to wait until dawn to investigate their disappearance? Or if we decide that it's too dangerous to stay here, you can still go east. Alright, wait till dawn, F for scoots. F for scoot. Wait, okay, alright, let's wait. At first light, you prepare to enter the valley. The highway is enshrouded by mist, and soon, on both sides, the Roinon forest closes in. A tangle of pale grey tree trunks of every shape and size crowd thickly around you. After a few minutes' ride, you find the wreck of a burnt-out wagon abandoned at the side of the road. Behind it, a track disappears eastward into the hill. Do we search the wrecked wagon? Do we ignore the wagon and press on the highway? Or do we investigate the track that leads up in the hill? Alright, search. Banana wagon. No cargo remains inside the charred shell of the wagon. The wood is black and the metal fitting have buckled and blistered in the heat. However, in spite of the damage, you find enough proof from the ashes to confirm your suspicion. This is the wreck of a some-lending cavalry wagon, one of 3 that left for Roinon with Captain Duval's troop over a month ago. As you stand in the wagon, brushing the ash from your hands, one of your men suddenly cries out in pain. You glance up in time to see him fall from his horse, a disc of sharp steel embedded in his chest. "Ambush! Take cover!" You shout as more of the deadly disc whittle out of the trees to claim their victims. Frightened horses gallop in all directions, your men desperately clinging to the reins. The hidden attackers vanish as quickly as they came, but not before 3 of your men are left dead upon the highway. After burying your dead, you must decide on the best course of action. For now, only 4 men remain at your side, and the hidden enemy may return at any time to finish their evil handiwork. Do we continue along the highway riding full speed for Roinon, or do we avoid the main highway and continue by the eastern track? Yep, we went from 50 and now we're only down to 4. Alright, east. Well, they never came back. At this point, it's probably assumed that they're dead. Okay, at this point, everybody says go east. You have ridden less than 100 yards when you notice fresh hoof prints in the dust of the winding track. We have tracking. Your Kai senses enable you to identify the hoof prints disappearing along the path toward the east as those made by some lending cavalry horse. We follow the prints or we head in the opposite direction to the tracks. Right, follow. You soon appear at the entrance to a mine. 2 sets of footprints disappear into the gloom of the tunnel, and judging by their shape and size, they were made by 2 of your missing scouts. You shout into the mine, but there is no reply to your call. Do we enter the mine, or do we call off the search and return to the hill track? Alright, mine. Hello? 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 Whoops. I did it wrong. Whoops. I still have to use this thing properly. Alright, mine. It is impossible to enter the mine on horseback, and you are forced to leave your horses outside. The mine is very dark, but you are quick to notice that unlit torches hang from the wall at regular intervals. You each take a torch and light them before continuing. In the dim glow, you discover footprints leading to a collapsed section of the tunnel. They continue all the way to the top of a huge mound of earth, which reaches almost to the ceiling, leaving only a small gap. Do we climb the mound and squeeze through the gap, or do we call off the search? Alright, Mudbat, climb. Climb. Climb, climb, climb goes the trolley. Hello? Hello? Alright, let's go. The tunnel continued to descend for several hundred yards until you reach a wide chamber with a timber floor. 2 pairs of footprints can clearly be seen in the silt covering the rotten planks. To your horror, they both seem to disappear into a gaping hole. Inching your way to the jagged edge, you can make out 2 bodies lying at the bottom of a muddy shaft. You have found your scouts, but they are all beyond help. As the soft timbers begin to sag, you retreat from the edge to avoid a similar fate. Beyond the hole are 2 exits from this chamber. One passage heads toward the east, the other south. We have trekking. You suddenly realize that you have entered a remote section of the Macken mines via a disused passage from the foothill of the Macken range. For hundreds of years, the horror of this range have been the blessing and the bane of thousands drawn here to seek their fortune. Men have either found wealth beyond their wildest dreams or have perished without trace in the labyrinth of cold, damp tunnel. You know that if only you can locate a section of this mine that is still in use, you will be able to follow its tunnel all the way to Roinon itself. As Roinon lies to the south, you decide to take the south passage out of the chamber. You follow the tunnel for over 2 hours before arriving in a huge cavern. The gloomy hall is divided by an underground river that disappears into a wide archway into the south wall. On its opposite bank, you can just make out the shape of another passage leading to the west. A small rowing boat is beached on this side of the river, and 2 pairs of oars are discovered behind the moss-covered boulder to which it is tied. Do we wish to row across to the other bank and take the west tunnel, or do we take the boat and continue south via the river? Also, the text earlier said that only 2 of the scouts went into the mine. Also, why did they enter the mine? I don't know, because they're dumb. Okay, so far boat, south. They're expert survivalists. Oh no, we went in the mine of fucking death and shit. Alright, south, south. Okay, alright, I think we're going south. But I'll wait just to be sure. Okay, boat. As you drift beneath the arch of the southern tunnel, you pull your Kai cloak around your body and raise the hood. The ceiling is leaking and huge drops of horse-stained water rain down on your crowded boat, streaking the hair and tunics of your men a rusty brown. You row for over a mile before eventually emerging in a small grotto. A flight of stone steps rises out of the water and ascends to a archway in the rock wall. Do we wish to land at the step and investigate the tunnel, or continue south by the river? Tunnel. Steps. Right, go tunneling. Steps to tunnel. Steps. Alright, let's go to the steps. Your men secure the boat to a rusty iron ring before following you up the stone steps toward the archway. As you reach a narrow ledge at the top of the granite staircase, You hear strange sounds drifting from the darkness ahead, like the hissing of a jet of steam. It lasts for a few seconds before the crack of a whip and the voice of a man cursing bring it to an abrupt halt. Do we enter the tunnel, or do we decide to not enter, return to the rowing boat, and continue with the underground river? Yeah. Whoosh! Shit! Whoosh! Shit the fuck! Alright, tunnel it.
Oh my god! That fucking freak!
Alright, 2 votes for tunnel, 1 for boat, another vote for the pervy tunnel. Investigate the S&M. Alright, let's go. The floor of the tunnel is covered with the decaying remains of rodents. Ouch. The sound of cracking bone makes you wince with disgust as you and your men step gingerly through the foul-smelling debris. You reach a section where the tunnel curves abruptly to the east, revealing the reflection of torchlight on the rough stone wall. A quick check ahead confirms your suspicion. 2 armor-clad warriors stand guard at a well-sunk into a torchlit chamber. Do we signal our men to attack the guards, or do we try to lure them in the tunnel to capture them alive? Alright, cap, lure. Alright, lure him, lure him, lure him. Alright, it's time to bring back the old football player, Lorenzo White! You toss a rock along the tunnel to attract the guard's attention. It works! Within seconds, you can hear footsteps approaching. You attack. The guards barely have time to gasp as your men leap out of the darkness and overpower them. Once disarmed, their hands are tied and they are herded back into the well chamber. Do we search them, question them, or do we leave them and continue on to our way? It's just like, I don't know. That seems dumb. It's just, we attack people, we tie them up, and just like, bye! At that point, it just reminds me we still have a diamond and we have no clue what we're going to do with it. Alright, question, break. Alright, let's break them. The guards will not answer your question. They seem to be more afraid of what their leader will do if they betray him than any torture they may face at your hand. All that you can determine from their uniform and their manner is that they are part of the bandit horde that attacked you earlier. Alright, do we search them or leave the chamber? Alright, point search. Alright, a thorough search of the 2 guards reveal 4 coins, a spear, a broadsword, a iron key, a brass key, 2 meals, and a potion of red liquid, which is loam spur. At this point, who knows why they say it's a liquid. At that point, yeah, fuck it. We're just gonna bring the meals, unless that people really want us to bring the loam spur potion. Okay, at that point, iron key and brass key. Yeah, with that said, however, we're gonna have to watch out. Item management is gonna become a reality. So yeah, set into the north wall of the well chamber is a large iron door. Next to the door, a stone archway leads to a spiral staircase. Do we examine the iron door? Do we ascend or descend the spiral staircase? It's time to choose. Okay, let's go with the door. The iron door is locked, but there's a lock plate with a keyhole and a large handle upon which hangs a whip. If you decide to take the whip, remember to mark it on your action chart as a backpack item. Okay, So do you want us to actually discard an item in order to take a whip? And yeah. And we possess an iron key, so we can totally open this door. So at that point, I'll just let people decide. Okay, alright, let's get rid of the grave weed in favor of a whip. And now do we open the door? We have a key, and it's ready to be used. Yeah, now you can be Lemulano. Alright, at that point, I'm just gonna open the thing. Alright, turn the key and push open the iron door. Immediately, a loud hissing fills your ear, like steam escaping from a geyser. A cat-like creature leaps at you from out of the darkness, knocking you to the ground. Its eyes glowing with a green fire and its fetid breath scorching your face. It is an helix. As you struggle to free yourself from its powerful fanged jaws, more of these creatures bound through the open door and attack your men. You cannot evade combat, and you must fight this beast to the death. Yep, very pretty teeth. Alright, let's fuck this cat thing's day up. Combat ratio 12. And 26, alright. Let's see what this battle will unfold. Oh, 1. Alright, we deal 9 damage to the enemy and we take 3 damage. Oh my god, what are these crap rolls? Good thing that we have a shitload of a high ratio, jeez. Like at that point, that sword is carrying us, otherwise we will be— oh my god! What in the fuck is that? 12 minus 3, alright. It's like, are we just wielding the sword with our teeth? What is going on here? Alright, there we go. 18 damage and no damage to us. Jeez, we sucked at this fight. My god. As you crawl from under the body of the helix, you see the desperate struggle still raging in the chamber. 2 of your men lie dead, their throat torn out by the ferocious beast. Another is pinned beneath an helix, his sword thrust onto its side. The other ranger has reached the stairs and is desperately hacking at the head and neck of an helix, whose teeth are sunk into his foot. There's no sign of the guards. They've both been knocked backwards into the well and have fallen to a watery doom. Do we help the ranger who's pinned to the floor, or help the ranger who's fighting at the bottom of the stairs? Okay, alright. Let's drink up. Alright, pinhead. Alright, let's pin. You drag the loathsome creature away from the ranger, only to find that the man is dead. The helix, a single, has already sunk its needle-like teeth into the poor man's heart. Grabbing your weapon, you turn to help the other man, who is now being attacked by 2 of the giant war cat. A third helix pounces at you as you run across the chamber, but you strike it in midair, sending it tumbling toward the well. 2 well-aimed blows are enough to dispatch the hissing helix. The ranger has collapsed and is nearly unconscious through loss of blood. His right foot is almost severed as the ankle. You know that he only has a few minutes to live and there's nothing you can do to help him. Your men are now beyond all help. Do we wish to escape from the chamber by ascending the stair, or do we descend the stair? I mean, we have the legendary sword of the god, and that cat still fucked us up real bad. Alright, ascend, descend. I don't know, do we miss the Icy Cave? Personally, I thought they were kind of boring. At least now stuff's happening. Go down. Right, any other person want to offer direct... Oh, up and F to all the screws. Whoops. Okay, at that point we do actually need someone else to chime in because it's 2 and 2. Alright, let's go up. For over 5 minutes, you climb the spiral staircase before reaching the next level, where a mine tunnel leads off toward the south. You've covered less than 100 yards of the dank passage when you discover a lever set high up on the left-hand wall. A sudden noise in the distance betrays a guard patrol marching towards you. Without a second thought, you pull the lever and a stone panel slides back to reveal a secret tunnel. You enter quickly to avoid the guard. Once they have passed by, you try to leave, but find that you cannot reopen the stone panel from the inside. With a growing feeling of despair, you turn and follow the secret tunnel. The tunnel soon emerges into a large chamber divided by a deep mine shaft. A dark-skinned warrior in tatty leather armor stands guard at the entrance to the wooden bridge spanning the shaft. He is whittling a block of wood and grumbling to himself about how unfair it is that he's given the most boring duties. On the far side of the chamber, a tunnel disappears into the west wall. You know that if you are to reach the tunnel, you must get past the guard and across the bridge. Alright, do we have camouflage or mind over matter? At that point, you have the choice. Which one of these do we actually choose to use in order to get across? Alright, let's use camo. Using your Kai skill, you blend into the shadows of the chamber wall and slowly inch your way nearer and nearer to the bridge. Suddenly, the guard puts down his block of wood and turns his back. He's rummaging in his haversack for some food. You see your chance and sprint toward the bridge, your weapon poised to strike down the unwary guard. Okay, pick a number. If you've reached a Kai discipline, if you have Kai discipline of hunting, we don't. Or if we've reached a Kai rank of guardian, yes we did. All right, add 3. 5 plus 3 equal 8. Woo! Your attack is swift and deadly. The guard expires before his head hits the ground. A search of his clothing revealed 3 gold crown, a sword, and enough food for a meal. Okay, alright, we're back to meal testing. Oh my god, we've got 6 fucking meals. And 3 gold crowns. Alright, 50's the max, so we have to abandon those 2 coins behind. Oh no. May take whatever you wish before you cross the bridge. As you reach the far side, you hear the sound of running footsteps in the distance. You decide to wait who it is, to not wait who it is, and quickly enter the tunnel in the west tunnel. Less than 50 yards along the tunnel wall, you notice a lever. Your Kai instinct makes you naturally suspicious of this unusual feature, and you scour the floor looking for evidence of a trap. You find nothing, but a glance at the roof reveals the underside of a wide portcullis hidden between 2 beams. You pull the levers and the portcullis falls, sealing off the tunnel behind you. To make sure you will not be followed, you smash the lever with a wedge of stone before continuing along the tunnel. Yeah, come on. Alright, you're hungry and you must now eat a meal or lose 3 insurance points. Big deal. You then continue along the tunnel, which runs for several miles before eventually arriving at a long deserted gallery. A line of empty ore wagons lie parked along a stretch of track that disappear into the west wall of this gallery. Above the arch tunnel, a flight of wooden stairs led to a smaller passage lit by a sputtering torch. You stay hidden in the shadows, watching the gallery for half an hour before you're satisfied it is safe to enter. We've got tracking, and we have the rank of aspirant and higher. Judging by the smoothness of the stone floor and the condition of the ore wagon, you deduce that this gallery must service a major section of the mine. A fresh breeze can be felt blowing out of the west tunnel, and you sense that you must be near the surface. Roinon lies due west, the same direction as the ore wagon tunnel. You take a deep breath and emerge from the shadows, cross the gallery, and quietly enter the archway beyond. As you make your way along the torchlit tunnel, you pass several ore wagons bearing the same design branded upon their wooden sides. A cross mullion above the initials OV. You recognize the seal of Oren Vanelun, the Baron of Roinon, and it confirms the fact that you're heading in the right direction. Suddenly, the sound of approaching footsteps begin to echo along the tunnel ahead. They become louder, accompanied now by shouting and the crack of a whip. Do we dive in one of the empty ore wagons or hide in the shadows of the rough tunnel wall? Okay, hide in the wagon. Wagon. Oh, shadows. Right. Alright, wagon. Let's go on the Oregon Trail, or the Roinon Trail in this case. Raising the hood of your Kai cloak, you crouch in the bottom of an empty ore wagon and wait with bated breath. Through a gap in the wood, you can see a haggard procession of men shuffling toward you. An escort of bandit warrior pushes them forward, beating any who falter or slip out of line. You feel a sudden jolt as your wagon is pushed along the tunnel and glance up to see a sweat-streaked face peering down at you. "Run left when I say go," whispered the face, which then disappears over the edge of the wagon. As the wagon emerges from the tunnel, sunlight suddenly floods over you. Through the crack, you can now see your destination. The wagons are being shunted onto a timber gantry where the track ends some 50 feet above a huge mount of ore. Your observations are cut short by his command. Go! Do we leap left, do we leap right, or do we ignore the command and stay where we are? Alright, left. Okay, I'm not even gonna... Yeah, what the heck, left? You leap over the side of the wagon and sprint toward a line of densely packed trees less than 20 yards from the track. Luck is with you, for the bandit guards fail to notice your daring escape, and the wagons continue on their way toward the gantry. Pausing just long enough to catch your breath, you give silent thanks to the stranger who helped you before pressing onward through the trees. The trees are alive with the sound of music. Okay, with bandit patrol, but your quick wits and Kai skills prevent you from being seen by them. Eventually, you reach the edge of the copse. You find yourself staring out across an expanse of open plain towards Roinon. The sight that lies before you is very disquieting. Much of the mining town is being burned to the ground. The blackened ruin of what were once shops, cottages, and taverns are now little more than smoldering mounds of charcoal. You're beginning to fear the worst, that Roinon has been totally destroyed when a gentle breeze clears the haze of wood smoke hanging like a grey curtain over the ruins. Inside the perimeter of ruined buildings, a barricade has been thrown up around a tower of stone. Above the tower, a tattered flag still flies, bringing renewed hope. It is the sun flag of Summerland edged with a band of white braid, the cavalry standard of the King's Guard Regiment. The sudden crack of a twig makes you freeze. You glance behind to see 3 bandits creeping through the trees toward you. The white steel tips of their spears glint. They seem to be coated with a clear, sticky fluid. All right, we don't have the hunting, but we have visited Gorn Cove before. That was in book number 2. You recognize Gnadron sap dripping from their spears. It is a deadly poison. You dare not risk engaging in combat with these bandits, for the merest graze from one of their tainted weapons could be fatal. Leaping to your feet, you race away from the trees and run towards Roinon. From all along the forest edge, groups of bandits emerge from the trees, weapons scolded by their bullying sergeants for allowing you to escape. This spurs you to quicken your pace, and you cover the first 100 yards with ease. Then arrows begin to fall around you. You duck and weave, making yourself a difficult target for the archers, and gradually the falling shaft dwindle in number. You smile at their futile attempts to stop you. But your confidence is soon shaken by a pack of snarling warhounds breaking out of the woods to your right. They are off the leash and hungry for blood. You're less than 500 yards from Roinon, but the warhounds are closing in. Do we try to go faster, or do we stop to fight them? Yeah, get a gun! Alright, run, Forrest. How could stopping be a good tactic? Alright, run. You try to ignore your aching legs and the fear that knots your stomach by forcing your concentration on the sun flag, a fluttering symbol of hope in the distance. Your face is streaked with sweat and your lungs feel as though they will burst, but you dare not slacken your pace. The thought of warhound fangs closing and tugging on your skin is all you need to drive you forward. At 400 yards, you can see that the barricade and watchtower are inhabited, but at this distance, the faces you can see are only a line of small pink dots on the wall. At 300 yards, you run into some gruesome remains, where the corpses of bandits lie twisted on the ground, most killed by arrows. Many have lain in the open for weeks. A flock of startled carrion crows rise, shrieking from their feasts as you race through the body. You turn away in disgust. Suddenly a new sound drifts across the plain. The sound of cheering. The beleaguered defender have spotted you and recognized your green Kai cloak. 200 yards to go. You've just passed the ruin of a burnt-out cottage when you feel an agonizing pain tear through your left thigh. An arrow has pierced your leg and you pitched forward into the mud and ash. Crouched in the ruined cottage, a bandit sniper raises his bow and takes careful aim at your head. Alright, let's roll. 8. A scream of pain and terror fills the air. The sniper crashes to the ground as the jaws of a warhound clamp tightly around his neck. Other hounds are drowned by his ghastly scream, and he's soon ripped to pieces. You look up to see a man running toward you from the barricade. He has a shield in one hand and a longbow in the other. It is Captain Duval. He reaches you, breathless from his run, and draws an arrow from his quiver. The warhound, tired of their victim, are in search of fresh sport and are turning their attentions on you. Duval aims and fires, drawing another arrow as soon as his bow is empty. Warhounds tumble and crash to the ground around you, felled by Duval's deadly shaft. The captain grabs you by the arm and swings you over his shoulder in one swift movement before carrying you back to the barricade. Others run forward to help him, but the bandit archers are now in range and the men are forced back by a hail of arrows. The red shaft whistle passes on all sides. Finally, you reach the barricade. A wagon is pulled aside and you're carried through the open gap. Captain Duval is close to exhaustion. He staggers and his men rush to catch him before he drops you to the ground. A circle of unshaven faces are staring down at you. A soldier cradles your leg as another snaps the shaft buried deeply in your thigh. But before you can even cry out in pain, he has drawn the arrow from your leg with one swift tug. You're very lucky, Kyle Lord, he says, as he bandages a handful of loam spur to your aching limb. The wound is clean and the bleeding is but slight. You lose 4 endurance points, but the soldier's quick thinking and skill has saved your leg from infection. With great care, the soldiers carry both you and Captain Duval in the stone tower. Yeah, there we go, that's the Captain Duval team. I was hoping the king will send a large search party, says Captain Duval Riley, now having fully recovered from his exhaustion. I was beginning to tire from this town. You rise from your straw bed and offers your thanks to the captain. His brave and timely actions saved you from certain death. There's nothing to compare with you, Lone Wolf. Your bravery is legend. Your presence here is worth 100 men. He asks you about your mission, and you recount the events that have led you to this meeting. The ride south, the loss of your company, your passage through the Macken mines and the bandits. Yes, the bandits. Baraka's men, retorted Duval, his gruff voice conveying his contempt for them and their leader. It seems we have suffered at his hand. A month ago, he and his Vasagonian renegades ambushed my troop on the Roinon Pike. We were sorely outnumbered and the fight was indeed bitter, but we broke free from them and escaped here to Roinon. We have been beleaguered here ever since and praying for help to arrive. We have enough weapons to resist them, but we barely have enough food and water to survive. That's okay, we have 5 meals, everyone! You ask what has become of the people of Roinon. Most are now slaves. Baraka has taken the mines and he uses the ruinies as forced labor. Other than yourself, only one man has escaped from the mines and survived the warhounds and the bandit snipers. That man is Baron Oren Vanelund. Come, I shall take you to him. Duval leads you to the topmost chamber of the watchtower and pushes open an iron shut door. The sight that greets you fills your heart with sorrow and pity. It's like, this is the most unapropos music. It's like, my god. I need something else. It's like, what the fuck was that? Oren Vanelund is the 15th Baron of Roinon, a noble warrior of royal lineage and 5th in succession to the throne of Summerlund. This once proud and chivalrous warlord now lies upon the stone-cold floor of the chamber, red-eyed and whimpering like a frightened dog. He has lost everything, says Duval quietly. Baraka has destroyed his castle, his land, his town, and his family. His sons are dead, and his only daughter has been taken captive by Baraka himself. I feel the ordeal has turned his mind. The pathetic man raises his tear-stained face and with feeble voice mutters a curious rhyme over and over again. When a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of Mackengord shall rise. Alright, we have a scroll. As you unfurl the scroll and begin to read its ominous content, the Baron struggles to his feet. Word for word, he echoes the prophetic verse. When the full moon shines over the temple deep, a sacrifice will steer from sleep the legions of a long-forgotten lord. When a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of Mackengord shall rise to claim their long-awaited reward. You must save her, Lord Wolf. You must prevent the sacrifice. The Baron's voice is choked with emotion. Save who? Who must he save? Questioned Captain Duval as he tries to calm the distressed Baron. My daughter, Medalon. Baraka has found the dagger of Rashna. He plans to sacrifice my daughter upon the altar of Macken to release the undead of Mackengorge. The Baron explains that during the Age of the Black Moon, King Ulnar of Summerlund killed the mightiest of all the Dark Lords, Vashna, with the Summer Sword, the Sword of the Sun. His body and the bodies of all his soldiers were hurled into the bottomless abyss of Macken Gorge. He plans to lead the dead. Oh, thank you MDCT for the raid. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're revisiting a good old relic of my childhood. Better late than never. So yeah, we're reading Lone Wolf, everyone. So alright.
It looks like your master.
Yep, we're reading Lone Wolf book. Thank you, Xenolrun, for the sub. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. We're almost done, I'd say, with book 4 right now.
Yeah, groovy.
Okay, alright. His body and the bodies of all his soldiers were hurled in the bottomless abyss of Macken Gorge. He plans to lead the dead to victory first, to conquer Summerlawn and then all of the last lands, he says in despair. You stare at the Baron in stunned silence. If Baraka completes the sacrifice, all is lost. What mortal army can stand against the Legion of the Dead? Captain Duval ushers you from the chamber and closes the door. I feared he was insane, but your scroll confirms my worst nightmare. He speaks the truth. Yep, Captain Duval, Lightbulb, Warman. As the dreadful significance of the verse begins to sink in, your thoughts are broken by the shrill blast of a war horn. Captain Duval strides over to a narrow slit and peers out across the plain. As he turns to speak, you notice that his face is ashen gray. The bandits! They're launching an attack! So, alright, do we have the sword of Captain Duval? Yes, we do. So, yeah, at this point, I know the next paragraph is not gonna have a fight, so yeah, let's skip ahead. You draw the sword and offer it to the captain. A look of surprise and delight crosses his blade as his face as he examines the blade. I never expected to see my trusty steel again. It is a good omen for the battle ahead. Thanking you, the captain sheathes his sword in its scabbard that until now had hung empty from his belt. Alright, we don't have this sword anymore. Follow Captain Duval as he hurries down the broad watchtower steps and out to the barricade. A rolling sound like distant thunder fills the air. Cavalry are pouring onto the plain from all sides, grouping up into battalions in preparation for the advance. Column of foot soldiers in bright scarlet armor march through their ranks, herding a frightened wall of people before them. "They're runnies!" cried Duval, his hand shielding the light from his eyes. "That cur Baraka! He's using them as a shield!" All around you, the captain's men has drawn their bowstrings, awaiting a signal to fire. But it is an order he dare not give. Suddenly, a hidden catapult hurls a massive black rock through the air, straight toward the barricade. You stare in horror as it bursts into flame and disintegrates, showering a rain of blazing oil on everyone beneath. The soldier cannot evade the deluge, and many are badly burned before the flames are smothered. A battle cry resounds from the enemy rank, the signal to attack. The Ruinies are pushed aside and trampled by the onrush of Scarlet Warriors, who now race toward the barricade. Yeah, you stare in horror as a deluge of blazing oil rains down. Boom! The blazing oil has scattered Duval's men and the barricade is poorly defended. You hear Duval shout your name. His cloak and tunic are ablaze and he's screaming for your help. Alright, we've reached a high rank of Warmarn. You must rally the defenders or all is lost. You order 2 soldiers to help the captain and then leap onto an overturned wagon in order to see clearly the enemy advance. They have already reached the ruined perimeter of Roinon and are now creeping forward under cover of the broken cottage wall. You shout order to Duval's men to defend the barricade, but the enemy are less than 100 yards from the wall. You are afraid it might be too late to repel their attack. The Vesagonian bandits break cover and charge, and you give the order to fire. A cloud of arrows sweeps down upon the armor-clad men, the ardent tip penetrating their scarlet plate. The first wave of assailants tumbles and falls. The second wave falters. Another volley forces them back, and they retreat to the ruins to reorganize themselves. Here and there, groups of bandit warriors have survived the hail of death and reached the barricade. Most are slain as they try to enter, but a small and determined section of their boldest fighters have broken through close to where you stand. Suddenly, a thick-bodied warrior with oily black hair tied in a knot at the back of his scarred head leap onto the wagon and attack you. Alright, 18 combat skill. You can evade combat at any time by jumping from the wagon, in case that people, don't want to fight this encounter, but at this point I'd say we are more than well equipped. We have 29 ability, so combat ratio of 11. So, alright, I'm not even sure if I switched the scene. Yes, I did. 0! Alright! The monster is instantly defeated! Alright! That was quick. Just like... Oops. Alright, we win. Duval runs past the wagon, leading a dozen of his best swordmen in a counter-charge and driving the enemy all the way back to the barricade. None escape alive. Those who survive Duval's swordmen are cut down on the plain by his archers as they run toward the ruin. The shout of victory has barely died away before you are faced with a new threat. A mantlet, a large shield on wheel, is being pushed slowly across the body-strewn battleground toward the barricade. Arrow shafts soon bristle from its thick wooden plank as Duval men fire their bow time and time again in an attempt to hit the shielded foe. Yeah, picture your shielded foe. Suddenly, a robed figure darts from behind the mantlet and levels a black staff at the barricade. He's cut down by an arrow, but not before he has let loose from his staff a guttering ball of flame. It cartwheels across the plain and explodes with a tremendous roar, hurling the bodies of defenders and shattered barricades high into the air. Through the cloud of dust and debris, you can see a line of enemy cavalry charging across the plain. They wear tall plumed helmets of polished steel and breastplate of deepest crimson. In the wake of the fireball, they pour through the remain of the barricade and attack. They give no quarter. A horseman spurs his horse toward you, his lance level at your chest. Do we stand and fight the horseman, or do we run back toward the watchtower? Alright, murder. Fight, everybody dies. Alright, that's all I needed to know. The horseman is charging at you very quickly. You will only be able to fight for one round of combat before the momentum of his attack carries him past you. Alright, 20 combat skill. That's almost closer this time. Almost. So yeah, for this one fight, we only deal one round of combat, so let's see how it goes. Oh, one, fuck. 9, okay, we still deal 8 damage to the enemy and 3 to them. And they deal 3 damage to us. So in the end, even though we completely whiff, the enemy lost more endurance point than us during this round of combat. Your blow has unhorsed the bandit. He falls to the ground heavily, shattering his lance beneath him. He staggers to his feet and, raising the hinge-high shield of his helm, he stares at you and smiles wickedly, exposing a jagged line of blackened teeth. He spits his battle cry and runs toward you, unsheathing a broadsword as he closes in. Do we fight him or do we evade? Alright, finish him! Alright, you're in combat with a Vesagonian horseman who's now on foot. That's not a horseman then. You cannot evade him, and you must fight him to the death. Okay, 17. Alright, now we're back to the good old combat ratio. Right, first of all, we got a tree. Whoops. I thought that we brought that up. Apparently I didn't. So, okay, 11 or greater, we got a tree. 11 damage to the enemy, 2 to us. Round 2. 8. Alright. Enemy instantly defeated. Alright. Alright. If you win, yes, we definitely do. Okay, no fight. Let's put in 1 point of endurance back. You run half crouch to the barricade and prise a bow from the hand of a dead soldier. You have spotted the leader of the bandit cavalry, a tall, dark-skinned warrior with a thin chisel nose, rallying his horsemen at the foot of the stone watchtower. You know you must kill him before he can regroup his troop, or Deval and his hard-pressed men will be ridden down and mercilessly slaughtered. You notch an arrow and draw back the bowstring. The straining cord bites into your finger as you take aim. Alright, pick a number, and if we have weapon skill of any weapon, add 2 to the number. Alright, we have weapon skill. 5 plus 2 equals 7. You release the arrow, and it whistles through the air and buries itself deeply into the mail-clad shoulder of the bandit leader. But before we wonder about the result, I probably should get a point of endurance back. You hear a scream of pain ring out above the din of battle, but even though he's badly wounded, he still attempts to rally his men. You stoop to take another arrow, but to your horror, the dead soldier's quiver is empty. Looking up, you see 2 dismounted Vasagonian horsemen clambering across the barricade toward you. You throw down your bow and run to a large water cask defended by a stout Sumlending sergeant. The ground around the cask is carpeted with enemy dead. "Shoot the leader!" you command, pointing toward the enemy officer. The sergeant aims and fires his bow with one swift and fluid movement. The arrow arcs through the battle smoke and pierces the officer's shiny breastplate. Slowly, his cruel eyes flicker and close as he slips from the saddle, the shaft lodged deep in his heart. To me! To me! Captain Deval's voice booms out across the battle above the battle noise. Rally to me, Sumlending! The brave captain draws about him a shielded wedge of soldier and charges into the flank of the horsemen. They reel and buckle as the shield wedge uses its way through their company. A Vasagonian herald, its crimson armor torn and his face smeared with blood, breaks free from the battle and sounds the retreat. You watch as the surviving bandits spur their mount to the gallop, desperate to escape through the ragged hole in the barricade. Gripped by panic and fatigue, they ride through their own foot soldiers who are advancing to support them. The infantry falter and collapse as the cavalry ride them down. Yeah, I like the face of this guy here and this other guy here who just looks so sad. He's just like, oh, we're losing, no. Captain Deval leads his men to the barricade and directs a lethal volley of arrows into the shattered infantry. It is the last straw. They throw down their weapon and flee from the clouds of arrows raining down on them from out of the smoke-filled sky. A battle cry, proud and strident, pursues them across the plain. For Summerland! For Summerland! All around the barricade, the enemy are retreating in disorder. Bandit war horns announce a withdrawal, exhorting their defeated warriors to flee the battlefield. A jubilant Captain Deval emerges from the war smoke, his eyes shining like jewels beneath the rim of his battered helmet. We have triumphed, Lone Wolf! We have vanquished the foe! All around you, the captain's men are rebuilding the barricade and tending to their wounded comrade. It sorrows you to see some landing dead, but you take heart at how few they are beside the enemy losses. The captain ushers you to the watchtower where your wounds are clean and dressed with loam spur. The herbs restore 6 endurance points. We have beaten this foe, but I fear that it is but a temporary retrieve, says the captain, his face now composed and somber. The sacrifice of Baron Venelon's daughters. Venelon's daughter must be stopped if we are to avoid catastrophe, for our strength will not avail us against a foe freshly risen from the grave. The words of the verse flood into your mind and a chill runs down your spine as you realize what may lie ahead. In 3 days' time, when the moon is full, Barricade will sacrifice the Baron's daughter at the buried temple of Macken, a sacrifice that will unleash the dead of Macken Gorge, the Chasm of Doom. You know you must prevent the sacrifice. 50 miles south of Roinon, the ruined city of Macken teeters on the brink of Macken Gorge. A cold sweat breaks out upon your brow as you contemplate the difficulty of your mission, for you are separated from your goal by 50 miles of enemy-held territory. But there's still a flicker of hope. With the enemy in confusion and retreat, your chances of success will be far higher now than before battle. Alright, before you set off on your mission, we get the following equipment and provision. 3 meals, rope, a potion of loam spur, a sword, and a spear. So at this point, we actually, whoops. We actually close the chat. Yes, that's totally what needs to be done. Whoops. At that point, this thing should just not have an X button whenever I do this. Yeah, at that point, do we throw a meal away in order to get the rope? Because, yeah, if they're giving one to us, who knows if we're gonna need it. Yep, if you were going in the chasm, a rope might actually matter. Yep, good thinking. So, alright. Rope! And I think we're okay with the rest at this point. Let's just pick a sword for good measure, because why not? It's like it's completely useless, but hey. Wait, is it? Let's see. Okay, apparently it's 1 unit wide rope. Okay, alright, why not? I guess we're just gonna go with that. Right. Dust soon enshrouds the beleaguered outpost of Roinon, and you use the cover of darkness to cross the body-strewn plain toward the south. An old highway trails off to Macken, but it is choked with Vasagonian warrior. They stand about in sullen group, tending their wounded and brooding under defeat. However, even demoralized and dejected, they are still a deadly foe. Ah, whoops, I forgot the potion. Oh well, who needs it? Ah, but at that point, I wouldn't even need, like, to discard the meal, but yeah, probably could have taken the potion. Yeah, fuck it. Let's travel back in time, because that's what we do this. Loam spur for EP. Alright. It will be too dangerous to risk passing through the ranks, so you must use the forest to conceal your passage. Do we venture through the trees to the right of the highway, or do we go through the trees on the left? Alright, right. Left is nature's right. Alright, right, center. Yeah. Oh, take that potion after all. I'm Lone Wolf, I'm confused. Okay, so far, right. Alright, let's go right. Your passage through the trees is lit by the flickering glows of the campfire that line the highway. bandit warriors huddle round, drawing warmth and comfort from the flames. They take little interest in their guard duties, and you find it easy to avoid their patrol. By morning, you have reached the edge of the forest. You stare out across the field of crops toward a small village that lies at the base of a shallow valley. The fields are only separated by narrow tracks, and these are alive with flying insects hovering in swarm. You are walking along one of these tracks when suddenly you spot bandits ahead. They are wandering idly up the track toward you, their spears slung over their shoulder. Alright, we don't have an onyx medallion. We have camouflage and we have the rank of guardian and higher. Lifting your feet high, you step into the tall crops, taking care to part them first with your hands. You allow the stalk to close again behind your back before you crouch down and hold your breath. You've completely vanished from sight. It is as if the stalks had never been disturbed. The bandits amble past barely inches from where you hide, oblivious to your presence. When you're sure they have gone, you emerge from the crops and hurry away. You bypass a village with orange wood cabin and stone walls and climb through the tall fields toward a wooded ridge. Beyond the ridge, you enter thick forest and discover a bubbling freshwater stream. You drink deeply and realize how hungry you are. You must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Alright, let's go stuff our face up. At that point we only have 3 meals now. Oh no. As night falls, you reach the city of Mackin. The gaunt, weed-infested ruins of the shattered city are spread like a vast graveyard and bathed in the eerie light of a near full moon. A sound filled the air like the wailing of lost souls. It is the cry of Mackin Gorge. It has been nearly 2 days since you last slept, and fatigue begins to overwhelm you. Drawing your kayak cloak above your shoulder, you settle down to sleep. You will need all your strength for the daunting task that lies ahead. Dawn arrives, rain-swept and gloom-laden. A pall of drizzle hangs over the ghost city, and the gruesome discord of the wailing wind of Mackin Gorge make you feel uneasy. You watch and wait, your kayak cloak drawn up close about your shoulder to keep out the chill, damp air. It was here, during the age of the Black Moon, that King Ulnar of Summerlund killed the mightiest of the Dark Lords, Lord Vashna. In mortal combat upon the very brink of this abyss, the Dark Lord was slain by the Summer Sword. It is said that his death cry when he fell will echo through the gorge until the day rises to wreak his vengeance on Summerlund and the House of Ulnar. Your stomach contracts at the thought that this could be that very day. For 5 hours, you observe and take in every detail of the ruined city. The first line of the strange verse keeps repeating itself in your mind. When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep. The temple must be underground and there must be an entrance to it. But where? You study every crack in the broken ground and eliminate all but 2 possibilities. A crypt door guarded by 2 Vesagonian warriors, and a flight of marble steps descending into the herd between 2 columns of fractured pillars. So, yeah, that's right. Here are our good old guards. Yar, I'm the pirate. So, do we enter the door through the guarded crypt door, or do we try to enter the temple via the unguarded marble stairs? Also, see if Captain Duval never actually, died. It's like it was implied several times that he was just missing. Alright, guarded door, cause screw it. Okay, unguarded. guarded because we fear no man. Alright. The consensus is go to the front door. You manage to reach a tangle of briar growing near the crypt door, and from here you can observe the Vesagonian guards undetected. More soldiers appear on horseback, riding into Machen from the north. They dismount and approach the door. "Password!" shout the crypt door. "Loan," reply the soldier. The door opens and they're allowed to enter. Armed with the password, you decide to try to enter the same way. Keeping the hood of your cloak raised and your some-lending feature in shadow, you walk boldly toward the guard. Alright, pick a number, and if you have camouflage, add 4. So alright, camouflage is serving us well into this book. Alright, 7, we got 11. Your bravado was paid off. The guard accept that password and allow you to enter the crypt. As the stone door is drawn shut, you find yourself in a wide torchlit corridor heading toward the east. The corridor ends at a flight of steps that descends 100 feet into the earth. At the bottom, a short passage leads to a junction where a tunnel runs from north to south. To the north, you can see a torchlit cavern with what appears to be an observation slit carved into the wall. To the south, a passage leads toward a low balcony. Do we investigate the torchlit cavern or the low balcony? So, whoops, I need to bring that back up. Nah, that's okay. Our stratagem was really good, guys. Alright, 1 vote for balcony. Let's see if anyone else wanted to check out. Oh dear, I have a feeling I've started something again. Lawn Star. I mean, I don't know. How do you pronounce this? Alright, balcony, looking down. Any other input? Anyone wants to check out the torchlit cavern? Lawn, no. Oh. I mean, it sounded more exotic the way that I said it, you see. Let's leave it alone. Alright, I guess I'll give it like a few seconds in order to see if anyone wants to investigate the cavern. So far, the consensus is balcony, but I need to make 100% sure. Ah, there we go, cavern. Look over the lawn balcony. Oh, alright. Cavern is climbing back into favor. Alright, let's go in the cavern. You have taken just 1 step into the cavern when a blow on the back of your head knocks you senseless. You were seen at the junction by 2 guards who prepared this ambush for you. Your equipment is taken and your unconscious body bound by Barricade's men who throw you into a cell. You are unable to stop the sacrifice. When the time comes for your cell door to open, it is the bony end of a skeleton that turns the key. Your life and your mission end here. Yeah, welcome to Bullshit Death! Oh boy! It's like, what the fuck is this? It's like, what the hell? So, yeah. It's like it's a 50-50% chance. But alright, let's go back in time and let's go on the balcony this time. Yeah, it's like it's essentially a 50-50% chance. Alright, balcony. An empty feeling grips your stomach as you stare upon the altar and inner sanctum of the subterranean temple. Your Kai senses burn as if every nerve in your body screaming a warning to flee from this evil chamber. Huge braziers of molten metal encircle a black altar, upon which lies fair Madelon, the daughter of Baron Vanelund. She seems to be entranced. Her breathing is slow and shallow. Beyond the altar lie two massive doors, a gigantic skull engraved upon their black stone surface. Out of your view, another door opens, and a procession of red-cloaked priests enter the temple. Their heads are covered, and they each carry strange amulets of black stone. They file past the altar, depositing the amulets in a circle around the young girl's body, and then file out again in total silence. Then you hear the sound of a distant drum beat. It grows louder and nearer. The measured step of steel-shod boots resound in its wake. Baraka is approaching. There we go. Priest! With the happy, angry skeleton banner. I actually love this. That's our new rallying banner now. The angry magic skeleton. Baraka carries the stench of death and decay about him. He strides into the temple, his boot of Korgaz hide covering both legs and feet, and slams shut the huge stone door with frightening ease. He stands in silence before pushing open the huge black doors engraved with the menacing skulls. Suddenly, a gale force wind sweeps through the temple, and your ears are filled with a terrible scream. Beyond the open door, a pier of stone just so into the abyss of Macken Gorge. You are staring into the chasm of doom. Baraka turns away from the windswept pier and walks slowly toward the altar. From a hidden scabbard, he removes a twisted black dagger and holds its stiletto blade to the light. An evil blue flame runs up and down the black steel spike, flickering in the ice cold wind of Macken Gorge. The sacrifice is about to begin. Do we draw our weapon to attack him, or do we try to distract him from the altar without attacking him? Okay, distraction. 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 Fight. Alright, at this point, it seems like it's halfway between fighting and distracting him. Alright, let's distract him. Hold your blade, Baraka! Her life is not yours for the taking! Your words ring out above the howling wind. The renegade noble turns to face you. His laugh is piercing as your command. He advances toward you, the flame-licked dagger held high in his mailed fist. You draw your weapon and enter the temple. Do we fight him, or do we try to free Madelon? Yeah, not confund him with a raving loon. He's a cackling loon. Alright, twat him. Alright, boss fight, boss fight. Alright, if you possess the summer sword, yes. As you raise your golden sword, the howling wind seems to rise in pitch and intensity. It claws at your mind, filling your head with terrible images of death and horror. Baraka sees you falter and strikes a cruel blow that opens a wound in your cheek. You lose 1 endurance point. But the sudden pain reawakens you to the presence of your enemy, and the combat begins. You're being attacked by a very powerful Mind Blast. Unless you possess Mind Shield, your combat skill is reduced by 4. So, yep, good thing we have Mind Shield. So therefore, we have 29, and therefore, we're actually better at the whole fighting thing than he is. So, alright, let's fuck him up. Wait, where's the music? Okay, I guess it's there. Alright. So, alright. The final battle. Let it go. Alright, 0 right out of the gate. Enemy takes 16 damage and we take none. 16, alright, 13. Ah, okay. Finally, we're getting a fight here. So 1 combat ratio 4. We deal 5 damage to him. And he deals 4 damage to us. Right, 6. 10 damage to him and 2 damage to us. We win. Alright, we win. As Barricade dies, the wind suddenly rises in pitch and intensity, filling the temple with a mournful cry of despair. You feel the chill, malevolent spirit of Dark Lord Vashno engulfing you in an icy embrace, but you sense that he is powerless to harm you. The sacrifice has been foiled. He is doomed to lament for a victory that might have been. Lying on the black temple floor is the dagger of Vashno. As you pick it up and tuck it into your belt, alright, we put this into our thing. It's a special weapon. I know, it's dagger of Vashno. Let's write it well, damn it. The evil blue flame flickers and dies. As long as you possess this evil blade, Dark Lord Vashno and his legion of dead warriors will remain imprisoned in the Chasm of Doom. You free Fair Madelon from the altar and carry her through the corridors of the temple that lead up to the surface. As you emerge from the moonlit ruin, an astounding sight greets your eye. Baraka's warriors are running from the ghost city in all directions, closely pursued by an army of cavalrymen. The light of the full moon and the guttering torches that these horsemen carry illuminates the suncrest that bedecks their tunics. Word must have reached Homeguard, for they are the Sumlending army, led by King Ulnar himself. Your countrymen praise your courage and daring, their strident cheers drowning the city of the cry of Macken Gorge. For once again you have proven yourself a true hero of Summerlund. As you deliver Madelon into the waiting arms of her father, his overwhelming joy fills you with a sense of great accomplishment. You are indeed worthy of the title Kai Lord. You have succeeded in your perilous quest, but the epic saga of Lone Wolf, Last of the Kai Lord, is far from complete. A new and deadly challenge awaits you in Book 5 of the Lone Wolf series, entitled Shadow on the Sand. Yep, pictured here, fleeing. It's like at this point they're so bad at fighting that only one of them remains. It's like, no, they were fucked. But yeah, congratulations, we pulled through. We have managed to finish successfully book number 4. And with all that said and done, we only have one book left through the original series of this, the initial cycle, where you are a Kai Lord. I'm probably not gonna do the next one tonight because it's really, really long, and therefore, hey, it might take a while in order to get through. It's kind of the mega book of the series, and it's the only one that has 400 sections. So, alright, but before we actually go through, we probably should, we probably should get out of here. Let's go back to our Kai discipline. At this point, we have only 2 disciplines that we can possibly pick from: Hunting or Mind Blast. Which of the following are we gonna carry for the final book of this cycle? Alright, Brain Blast. Hunting, Mind Blast, hunting. Alright, sorry, hunting wins. Alright, we're now a savant. A savant of hunting. And we'll figure out how good this ability is gonna be whenever we're actually gonna tackle the final book of this initial series. So, alright, anyway, that'll be it for me. Thank you everybody who just came along for the stream. I hope you all had a good and chill time just going around playing good old books and everything. So, yeah, no, we're not an idiot savant. No worry about that. Every time we kill a monster, it's not gonna go... So yeah, thank you everybody for coming alongside to the stream. I hope you had a good time. Thank you as well to MDCT earlier for the raid. Thank you very much, Doc, for dropping by and all the viewers. So, alright, at this point, there's only 2 people that we can possibly host. I see a Smite and I see an Otter Blue streaming. At this point, I'm gonna raid Smite. He's currently playing Bannerlord right now. He's probably gonna play other games as well, but it seems like that's what he's currently playing. So, alright, let's go check it out. And, yeah, what's the raid message? Alright, the raid message is just gonna be that. We're a lone wolf. Woof. So, goodbye, everyone.